Hey, it's Lauren Abrams. I have Stacey Lauren, and you get to walk through your fears, step out of your comfort zone, forget the overwhelm. You get to date, you get to get your dream career, you get to write your book, do your thing. I'm so excited to have Stacey here. Go ahead, Stacey. You can introduce yourself. Her podcast just released.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Lauren and I did a really fun podcast interview on her podcast, and we're here announcing it. But basically, I'm the founder of the Do the Thing community. I have a singles community where we do dating challenges and help you start books and meet people in the wild and all of that stuff. And then I also have a community full of podcasters, entrepreneurs, coaches, e-commerce entrepreneurs, all kinds of stuff. And we're able to basically run different challenges that help you do anything from finding your voice to being able to use your voice, to be able to create online communities and all of the things in between.
Yeah. And she's episode 187, Overcoming Fear, How to Break Free and Empower Yourself to Achieve Greatness, or at least date, write your book, start a podcast. It's the longest title I think I've had for any podcast. It's episode 187, and it dropped yesterday. And it's just so amazing. And she goes through all of her process of how you can do anything. And right now, we're going to talk about how you can embrace change, step outside of your comfort zone, and do the thing. And so, all right. So, somebody that wants to, they know they're not aligned with who and what they really want to be, but they're afraid to take that leap of faith. What's the first thing that you would tell them?
Yeah, I love that you asked this question. I think that's why our interview is so good, because you asked such good questions. But I'll just give a quick little rundown. When I started Do the Thing, and this will answer your question, I promise. But when I started Do the Thing, I was really wanting to help people like achieve their goals and go after the things they want without all the mental baggage. But shortly into it, I realized it was so much more than that. I wanted to help people, what you said, tap into who they are, what they want, not because someone else tells them to do it or because they think someone wants them to do it. And so my first step is finding your voice, is being able to really tap into who you are, what makes your heart happy and sing. And when you're able to do that, it's like all of the things start to come to you because you're so tapped in to what that is.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's like, what fills you with joy? Like, what lights you up when you think about it? It just, that makes such a difference. And I talked about it when I was on your podcast too. It's like when you start taking steps in the direction of what that is, just even 15 minutes a day, you're creating that energy, and the universe just like rises to meet you. And
Oh,
I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know
no,
how or why that works, but it just does. Like the universe just starts showing up for you out of nowhere.
yeah, it's amazing. And the more you can speak to it, when you have a big idea or something that you think you want to do, when you've tapped into it, the more you're able to say it out loud and activate your voice and have conversations, the more it does, it starts to unfold as you're moving through it and doing the thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that. So what are the favorite do the things that you're doing? Because I mean, you have write your book, start a podcast. And I just spoke to a group of manifestors really about starting a podcast. I was like, yeah, I could talk to anybody about starting a podcast. I could definitely do that at this point. So what are some of the favorites that you've done?
Yeah, well, so my favorite, and we just so happen to be closing the doors on it today.
Yeah, so people can sign up now.
You can sign up now, but it will be closed today. But it's called the Find Your Voice Challenge, and that is my ultimate favorite. It's our landmark challenge, and I actually sent an email out about it today because I put in all of these bonuses because I think Do the Thing wasn't meant to be a business. We've talked about this, I think, probably on our interview. It was meant to just be this passion project, research for a book. And so when I converted it to a business, it was like, am I really going to still love it? I was really worried I was going to mess up how much I love doing what I'm doing. And so in the email, I basically said, so I'm throwing all these ridiculous bonuses in it because I think there's part of me that still feels funny taking money for something that I love so much,
Yeah.
So with the Find Your Voice Challenge, it's 17 days. I'm including a podcast workshop, which is an hour and 15-minute workshop where you literally walk away with a podcast. It's crazy. But because I did that 5-week podcast challenge, I learned the exact like things that would hold people back from like wanting to put themselves out there. And so I put all of that into this hour, 15-minute workshop, and people are, after that workshop, they're sending it to me saying, oh, I've started my podcast, like the link and everything. So that's really cool. And then I have this magnetic content bonus that converts. Magnetic content that converts workshop bonus that we added as this challenge has been going on, because I've started doing these really fun Instagram videos and I've been getting a couple sales a day, like people signing up for my Find Your Voice challenge. So we realized that finding your voice also helps you be able to really clarify your message and speak to it in a really short, 1-minute way. And so anyway, so that's something.
So how do you help people, because everybody's going to do it? How somebody that wants to clarify their message in 1 minute, how would they be able to do that?
Yeah, well, so it starts with finding your voice, because you want to find out. So I call it almost throwing up on like a recorder, and being able to really just tap into that deepest unconscious layer, because we all have these thoughts that we have and it's staying in the superficial layer. But the Find Your Voice challenge helps you kind of like tap into those other layers that maybe you don't access every day. And so that's kind of the starting point. And then when we do the workshop, it's going to be after Find Your Voice. So we're going to be able to like pull, and I'm going to give dares to get them to pull. Sorry, I do dares. That's how I get people to do the thing, is I give them these little micro action kind of movements. But basically I'll give them a dare to get them to now make it more succinct. And so that's basically what it'll be. And then I also added a ticket for our Audience Accelerator action class, which is where I'm going to be helping show you how to build an online community.
And I know you work through all of this on the episode, a lot of these, but somebody listening right now, what would they be able to do to help them?
Yeah. So just in terms of, my biggest advice is just start with saying something out loud. A lot of people, they write in a journal. I actually suggest like just taking your phone and using that like voice recorder thing on your phone, and just asking yourself a question, like, what is something I've done recently that I'm proud of? Or what am I good at? And just saying that out loud, there's something about that voice activation that really helps you really try to figure out what you even want to say. And there's a lot of videos of me basically saying, and I'm teaching people through the Find Your Voice. I'm like, okay, now just say like, dream, Stacey, dream. And I go through this whole thing. And then all of a sudden, all these new dreams come out that you didn't have. So that's what I would suggest, is just get a phone and record yourself.
Yeah. And so anybody listening, just, Stacey has now done stand-up comedy. You've now done a Find Your Voice or do the thing for writing your book and all kinds of things. And it's not just get a soulmate or podcasting. It's like everything you can imagine, which again, she goes through all the steps on the podcast episode right here. There it is, episode 187. Yeah. And they're such simple steps and they're great. And she has throw a 2-hour cocktail party, which I have replicated. I did it. Yay. I threw my 2-hour cocktail party because I had to get the book and do this thing, which was really fun. And so, yeah, there are a lot of things that are definitely parallel. So for somebody who wants to take that leap of faith, here they are. Okay, so you say it out loud. Then to get some clarity, then because you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, I believe so strongly in accountability partners. And you've created this incredible community. How does somebody get to do that too? How can they create community or get an accountability partner?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I suggest, and this is part of the Do the Thing formula, that's the common thing with all of these things I've done, because it sounds like I have major ADHD where I'm like, I'm doing this and now I'm doing this. There is a common through line between all of it, which is the Do the Thing formula, which I dissected over all my podcast interviews. And then I've just been testing the formula through each challenge that I do. And now that I'm doing the Audience Accelerator program, I'm actually testing it in other people's groups. But I think the number one thing to do is to either join a group and get around people that are wanting to do the same thing as you, that they have the same goal, the same interests, because that's going to give you this layer of social accountability. And it doesn't have to be a Facebook group. I mean, that's an easy way because you get to meet everyone. It could be someone like the stand-up comedy. I could have never done stand-up comedy if I was just going to go perform. I joined a comedy class. So I was around other people that were wanting to do it too. And that's what makes you feel kind of more connected, and it's a safe space to do something new. And so that's the number one thing I suggest is go around my people is actually the name of the piece of the formula, but be around my people because they're going to give you that community, the connectedness. They're going to kind of have this shared vulnerability because you're doing something new and you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that will also really give you the momentum to be able to continue on, which is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the accountability as well.
Yeah, definitely. So people listening, what is the best advice? Because you don't have the confidence when you first start. You're like, what am I doing? I don't know if I can do this. And the head starts going and everything else. How do you not listen to the head?
Yeah, mental baggage is the thing that's actually in every episode of my podcast in my intro. And honestly, it's funny because I'm sure you've experienced every new level you go to whenever you've stepped out, it comes back. You're like, why are you here again? I already worked with you. Like, okay, I'm good. I've got you, And so anyway, that's a little mind game in itself. But I suggest action. It's like really the best thing.
Yeah.
It's taking action and doing it in like a little micro step. And whenever I'm wondering if if I'm making the right choice, I always at least say, well, I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to see how I feel, afterwards. And so having that idea that there's not this commitment, maybe that's a thing. I mean, I'm 50, so it's a little different maybe for me than other people, but like having this thing that I have to do is different than the thing I want to do. So if I'm doing something new and I'm scared that I'm going to get stuck in it, that's how I release the mental baggage, because that's been my biggest thing that I've had to overcome is like, do I really want to do this forever? And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to release this thing and then I'll see how I feel and what unfolds next for me.
Yeah, I do it from like, okay, I'm doing this. Maybe it'll help someone. Like that. I just think of it that way. Like, that. I just try to come at it from a service plane. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And like, let's just try. Just whatever.
That's so cool.
And my whole thing is I could get hit by a bus and and so who cares? That's gotten me through a lot of this kind of thing with the imposter syndrome or anything else. Who do I think I am to do this or whatever? Just feel the feelings and keep going. And how about you when imposter syndrome comes up, or who do I think I am to do this? Or I just kind of keep going. How about you?
Yeah, like it happened to me. I mean, I'm launching this new program that's in April, Audience Accelerator. I mean, there's a million people that are doing audience programs that have been doing it way longer than me. I'm really new in the online space. I had a brick and mortar business for 20 years, but online, I'm still only like a year and a half in. So that kept coming up. And I think what it really does is for imposter syndrome is already to start helping people do it, so now that I have 3 people in the program, I'm like seeing my gift, right? And it's the formula. Again, I'm taking the do the thing formula and I'm putting it into their group. And so I'm able to see real time just the effect that this thing that I've developed is having. And so for someone listening, how you can apply that into your own life is to be able to just do it and then know that like you still know more than someone else that hasn't done it. And so really being able to take that into your kind of like embodiment. When I think of even my podcast, when I was 2 weeks into my podcast, I still hadn't published it to Apple yet. It was still, like saved in the podcast platform.
Yeah.
And I actually was asked to be an expert on this cohort of people starting podcasts. And I was only 2 weeks in. I'm like, why do they want me? And I went, and I mean, I was supposed to only be there an hour. It ended up being 2 hours because everyone had so many questions for me that I knew the answer for. And so immediately after that, I got that feeling of contribution. So I immediately synced my podcast. I was like, okay, I feel like I should now publish it. I have to now.
Yeah,
and
you have to.
I think maybe that would be an answer to your question, is just helping someone. It will help you get out of imposter syndrome. That was my long way of saying that.
Yeah, it definitely will. Plus nobody can do, like, everybody has their own unique handprint, and like it just like nobody can do it the way you can do it. And we all have our own unique voice. So like you're going to be helping somebody, and everybody has a different way of receiving your message, and somebody needs to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Everybody isn't for everyone, and we're all ahead in different areas. Like, I don't know if it's ahead, but like
Yeah.
it's a different way of receiving and hearing messages. So I'm not for everyone. So that's why there's like it's
It's
like,
so true.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Somebody
so
said it
true.
so well. Like one of my guests once who um hadn't been in this, we were in a similar space, but she hadn't been in it as long, but I was like soaking up what she was saying because she receives in different ways and can hear. Anyway, it was like she had a very succinct, beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I think it's also having that one of the people in my program, his group is called Do the Big Dream, right? And so he had said he was like, "Are you okay?" Because it came up through the program. That was what he wanted to do. He's like, "Are you okay? You're do the thing. I'm going to be do the big dream." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like he's so different. His whole thing is different than mine." And it's also that abundance of whoever's going to gravitate towards you is going to gravitate towards you. Whoever's going to
Yeah.
gravitate towards me. And so everybody is, like you said, they're attracted to the deepest part of you. That's why I like going back to finding your voice. That's why I like helping people
Yeah.
find their voice first, because when you're not worried about what people are going to say or what they're going to think, and you're really convicted on who you are, that really helps it tap in even more. Hi, Kimmy.
Yeah, I know. She's saying hello. Yeah, and it's like what I said on when I was on your podcast. Is I've never thought of a diplomatic way to say like nobody's paying that much attention to you anyway.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like
I do that all the time. I'm like, no one cares. Like when
yeah.
you obsess over certain things like an image or this, and I'm like, okay, forget it. Literally no one
Yeah,
cares.
so nobody's paying attention. No one cares. Like they might blink and they go, "Oh, that was different," and then they move on, and they're thinking about themselves anyway. Like, yeah, just do it. Who cares? Keep going.
Yeah, it's
Put
so
something
true.
else out. Yeah, like just put it out there and go.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, the more animated you are, the for your thumbnail, the better. Yeah, I'm like, okay, stick your eyes and ears out, make your head funny. You'll get more clicks or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where I've just landed, at least for now, and I mean, this is great. Do the thing advice for everyone, because, like the better, depending on what you want to do, if we're talking about images right now, but
Uh-huh.
the quickest and easiest way that's going to be able to get you to do the thing, just to get in momentum, is the way to do it. And so that's why even with people with podcasts, I'm like, don't even get a microphone. Like, get the microphone after you've done 40 episodes. Like, don't, like I really give advice on just being scrappy in the beginning, because otherwise no one's gonna ever hear what you have to say. It's like, it's going to get stuck inside you. And I've seen this with so many people get stuck in that perfectionism or wanting to ask people advice. But the sooner you can just take action and put it out there, whatever it is, no matter what it looks like, then people are just attracted to that in general. Someone that's able to like put themselves out there, no matter what it looks like.
Yeah, just as long as you're your authentic self and putting your actual personality out there, yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, everyone should sign up for Stacey's everything she has. Like you're so great. Your community is amazing. The way you provide accountability and get everyone to actually do the thing. You have people that just it's amazing. So all of her links, everything is in the show notes, it's in the description, it's on the website, all of it. You should definitely go check her out, listen to the episode. It's so great, and I'm a fan, and I just it's such a good episode.
Oh, thanks for having me on your show, and thanks for doing this. I love it. It's so fun.
Definitely. We'll keep the conversations going. And if you're listening to the replay, I'm so glad to have you listening. And yeah, we'll keep going with this. Thanks so much.
Thank you.